When I was 18, I had no guidance, like at all. My father wasn't really in my life. It was just my mother. He was there, but sometimes I think that it would have been better if he was not here. I had to hear a lot of noises, and I had to hear a lot of screaming that I don't really get out of my head. And I've dealt with it, so it's not traumatic to me. It's just here. It's memory, and I remember it. So it's not like you can discard of memory. So I had no guidance, and so these are life lessons that I wish I knew at 18. And I wish someone was here to teach me this, and someone was here to guide me through all of this, because I had to learn it the hard way. And the first one is, no one is coming to save you. I used to sit around and just wait, like, oh my gosh, a fairy godmother is gonna come, smack her wand on my head, and I'm gonna be saved. Like, no one's gonna come to save me. I had to save myself. I had to get myself out of that situation. I couldn't blame anyone else. I couldn't blame my father. I couldn't blame the lack of a masculine role model in my life for my behaviors. I couldn't do it. No one. No one, it was no one's fault. It was my fault. And I just had to take accountability and I had to say, okay, I am this way because I have not learned to behave differently. I am behaving this way because I've been taught to behave this way. No one's coming to save me. No one. And that's the first one. No one's going to come to save you. You have to save yourself. It's all on you. You have to. No one's going to have your back. Not the way you have your back. When things hit the fan, no one's going to be there. You have yourself. Until you find someone that's going to be there, cool. You hold on to that person like a precious jewel and you cradle them like a little baby. But until then, you have no one. You have you, and you have to save yourself. I was in the military and I clung on to every man that was older than me. I'm 18, and if someone was 20, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're like a father to me, because I knew nothing. I had no one. I had no one to teach me anything. I didn't have, it was no one. All my friends were one directional, meaning on YouTube, I had so many friends: Alex Hormozy, Jordan B. Peterson, Alan Watts, Robert Kiyosaki, Napoleon Hill. Like, all of these people I would listen to, they were my friends, but one-way friendships. All I could do was listen. I could never speak back to them, and so they were my friends. And so they helped me. They were my mentors. All these people on YouTube, they were my mentors. They were the people that helped me, which is why I kind of do what I do now, because I hope that I can be that for you, right? And that's the first one. Is no one's gonna come to save you. You have to acknowledge that. And you have to just say, okay, I gotta get my act together. I gotta do it now, and I can't wait around. I have to act now. And the second one is, no one cares about you. So it's okay to fail, because no one really cares. I failed. I've lost everything. You can go on my YouTube. I made a video. It's like the best performing video of how I lost everything. I tell you my story of how I lost everything twice. And I'm in the situation that all of you are afraid of, failing. I went from seeing a lot of money made to now having to work at a freaking gym, sell memberships. I'm back in the roots, doing what I'm good at, selling. And no one cares that I was this nail growth oil guy and I was the face of the company. No one cares. No one cares that I failed, because they have their own problems, their own hardships that they have to go through. No one really cares about you. They're not thinking about you as much as you think you are. You think they're thinking about you because you think about you. Day in, day out, you go to sleep thinking about you. You wake up and you think about you. No one cares. So if you fail, okay. And if you win, honestly, no one really cares. No one cares, because they have their bills to pay and they have to wake up for work the next day. So whether you win or whether you fail, it doesn't matter. It's about who you inspire along the way. That's what matters. But for the most part, people don't really care. They're not going to judge you. And if they judge you, who cares? They don't know you anyways. Hate comes from afar. It's very hard to hate someone up close. And I got this framework from Hormozy. It's very hard to hate someone up close, because if you were up close and you knew the pain they went through, see the tears, you felt the pain, saw the blood, and you've heard and you've seen what they've seen, heard what they heard, and you just watched their pain through like a documentary, your heart was softened. So if someone hates you, it's an indication that they know nothing about you, and so they're irrelevant anyways. No one cares about you, so just go. Full force, go. If you fail, you have a story to tell. If you win, you have an even better story to tell, and you get to reap the rewards. The next one is, you are stronger when you fight for something bigger than you. My whole life, I fought for me. I didn't become strong and capable because I fought for me. I became strong and capable, and all the lessons I learned was from fighting for something else, someone else. My whole life, it was for me. I did everything for me. I fought for myself. I did things for me, for my life. until I looked in the mirror and I said, it's bigger than me. It's for my future son, my future daughter. It's for my future wife. I have to be better. I have to be the pillar. I have to be the foundation of the home. I have to fight for them. I learned the most about myself when I was fighting for one of my closest friends, when I was basically working with him at the company, working for him at Brother Cosmetics. I fought for him. I fought for the company. It was something bigger than me. And I learned the most in doing that. I became the strongest version of myself in doing so. I could have made selfish decisions, but I made selfless decisions. I could have chose to abandon him and do me, or I could have stuck by his side for as long as I can. You are stronger when you fight for something bigger than you. Every single parent knows this. Every mother, every father knows this to be true. You're strong not because of you, but because of the child. And so you have to fight for the child. So when you fight for something or someone bigger than you, you will become a machine. Next one, if you have nothing, you are dangerous. You have nothing to lose. You're dangerous. You're extremely dangerous. Because if you lose it all, what's the worst that can happen? You already have nothing. And so you can take big risks. When you have nothing, you can take big risks and you can go. You have to use whatever you have at your disposal. You have to. Whatever you have available, use it. Use it. Just use it. You don't have anything else. Whatever you have at your disposal, you have to use it. If it's time, use time. If it's pain and anger, use pain and anger. If it's stories to tell, use the stories to tell. If it's skills that you've acquired, use the skills that you've acquired to get yourself into a better situation. Put yourself in a different circumstance. You have to use everything at your disposal. Whatever you can find. Whatever you can find. If you know that your parents will take you back, if you lose everything, you use that. And so you have a place to live. And you don't have to pay rent. If your car is paid off, then you use that. That stuff you have at your disposal. Use all of it. Use everything you have. You have your whole life to enjoy fun. And all my young men, you have your whole life to enjoy the fun and the ladies. And all my ladies I watch, you have your whole life to enjoy that. Pain now, pleasure later. Swallow, eat the frog, swallow the glass. The reason you're in pain is because you take pleasure now. And you wonder why 2 months from now you're in pain is because you inverted it. You've been taking pleasure for all this time and now you wonder why you're in pain. You're in pain because you haven't delayed gratification. Pain now, pleasure later. Next one, control your desire to make impulsive decisions. Do not act impulsively. Don't do anything that would not serve you. Do not make a decision that would not serve you. Do not make a decision that would not help you transform to be the next version of yourself. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Pain right now, pleasure later. Control your impulsive, habitual nature to just act. Don't do it. Instead, think. Be like, I want this right now, but will it serve me? Do I need this or do I just want it? Do I just want to feel or do I need it? You need to know what needs and wants are. Establish that. Delay gratification for as long as possible. You have to. We want things now and we want things fast. We want results now and we want this now and all this now and we don't really care to endure pain. We just kind of want to feel good now, and you have to rewarp your brain to behave in a way where it's, no, I can suffer now. And you have to kind of say, I'll suffer now, but there is a guarantee that in 4 years I will make it. And so when 4 years come, it's all worth it because you are enduring pain now. We don't want to endure pain now because we don't know how long we can endure the pain for. You have to look back on your track record of times where you felt like this before, times where you wanted to call it quits, times where you wanted to give up, times where you had no hope and it was all over and you're like, I'm done, I'm screwed. Look back on that track record You made it past that, you'll make it past this. Remember the moments where you wanted to die. Remember the moments where you just didn't want to do anything with your life. Remember the moments where you almost gave up. Remember the moments where you did give up, but you still continue to draw breath. And so you're here. And so you can keep going. But you have to delay the want. You cannot want things right away. You have to work hard, and you have to hustle, and you have to go, and you have to endure years of pain, because it will change. But you just have to make it past that 4-year mark. Next one, lie to the world if you have to. Never lie to yourself. The worst person in the world to lie to is not your mother, it's not your father, it's not your brother, your sister, your friend, your best friend, your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister. The worst person to lie to is yourself. If you lie to yourself, then you don't know what's truth anymore. You'll begin to rationalize your own pathological decisions. You'll do things that are inadequate, and you'll do things that are not serving you, and you'll say it's okay. It is not okay. You're lying to yourself. You're saying it's okay because you are complacent. You are content, and you don't want to sum up the courage, and you don't want to sum up the strength that it takes to change. You don't want to sum that up. And so don't lie to yourself. If you're doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing, say, I should not be doing this. I will stop now. And I have to develop the strength, and it's not easy. You have to sum up every ounce of courage you have inside of you. Like everything, you have to pull it. Like you have to grab it deep from within. You have to pull it out. And you have to say, this is all I'm working with right here. And you have to crunch it up and use it. It takes an insane amount of soul devouring pain to just not lie to yourself and say, I'm not the best version of myself right now. And this is not okay. And I gotta do something about it. Next one, please don't be closed off. Listen to everyone, even if they don't have the life that you want, because you never know what you can learn. So many people don't listen to the opinions and the advice of others because they're like, you don't live the life I want. And so they close it off. And so they miss an opportunity to learn. They miss it completely. Completely. You have to understand that you can learn something from everyone. You can either learn how to behave or how not to behave. So if there's someone that lives how you don't want to live, acts how you don't want to act, behaves how you don't want to behave, you can learn by not being them, by avoiding that, by avoiding stupidity, by avoiding whatever they are. And if there's someone that is living a life that you want, you can learn by seeing how they move, how they think, how they carry themselves, how they walk, how they talk. You can learn from everyone, every single person. Never be closed off, because when you close yourself off, you are closing yourself off to the possibility of learning something that can truly transform your life from somebody. You never know what one person can say, one sentence that can stick with you the rest of your life, but you just have to have an open mind and you have to listen, actively listen. Don't listen to respond, listen to just listen and absorb. Never listen to respond. Truly, truly digest the information given to you. Next one, you can't please everyone. You can try and you will burn out. In my early stages, I was trying to speak to everyone. I was trying to speak to the feel-good people, the spiritual people, the feel-good individuals who just want to do boom, 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 boom. I couldn't speak to them because my message was just too brutal for them. They cared about feeling good about themselves. These were the same people that would be out of shape, and they thought it was okay because they loved themselves. No, you don't. You don't look in the mirror and love yourself. You look in the mirror and you wish that you could be better, but you lie to yourself and say you love yourself because it's the only thing that makes you feel comfort. I can't speak to them. They won't get my message. My message are for the people that are sick of it. My message are for the ones that are just done. Like they can't stand the pain anymore. And they don't want to be the same anymore. My message is for you. My message is for the people that just cannot accept mediocrity, that want to win, that demand more of themselves because they know they can meet those expectations and standards that they uphold. My message is not for the people that are the feel-good people that do what makes you happy, do what you're passionate about, do this and feel good and love yourself and look in the mirror and do. I can't speak to them. And so you don't need to worry about speaking to everyone and pleasing everyone. It's just not going to happen. People will get your message, people won't. And the people that get it, you will help them. And the people that won't, they can go towards another person that can help them. I've tried. I've been the person to cater towards people. Oh, it's okay. Oh, you're traumatized. It all boils down to, are you strong enough to take action? Do you have the strength and the courage to change? And if you don't, then you're just weak. And I talk smack because I've been there. When I speak, I don't want to sound like this moral, superior, authoritative figure pointing his finger saying, no, 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 no. It's because I've been through the depths of hell. I felt the fire. I've been scarred. I have the scars. Like I know I'm very familiar with hell. And sometimes I just don't want you to burn. And the only thing that got me out was just taking action. It was not the manifestations. It was not the gratitude journaling. It was not the affirmations. It was not looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough. I'm worthy of love. No, not that man. That version of Thompson was not the Thompson worthy of love. That version of Thompson was not the Thompson that was capable of taking care of a family. And the more I try to lie to myself, the more complacent I became. So don't please everyone. Speak your truth. Do it, and do it for you. Next one, failing is learning, which is good. Winning is success, which is better. Either way, you win. That's why I say always try. Either jump in with 2 feet or don't jump in at all. If you fail, you have a story to tell, and you learn lessons so that when you try again, you can be a lot more prolific at it. Or you can try and you'll win. And so you reap the rewards and you have a story to tell and you learn some lessons. The only thing failure teaches you is to completely avoid it. Failure teaches you that I need to do everything in my power to avoid failing. That's all it teaches you. Win. Learn how to win and repeat it so that you can win again tomorrow. Failure teaches you not a lot. It can teach you humility, which is great. But either way, you're either gonna learn a lesson or you're gonna win. So just go. Go brute force, go all the way in. And don't be afraid. For anyone with daddy issues, who didn't have a father growing up, or their father wasn't the best, and they just were disappointed at their father and wished that their father would have been a different man, you owe it to your father to honor the last name given to you. His blood runs in you. And you can honor your father by being completely nothing like him. That's how you'll honor your father. That's how I choose to honor mine. He was not the best. He had 2 wives. I have a half brother. And none of us got a good version of him. None of us. I desire to be nothing like him. I don't hate him. He's a flawed man. And he learned his lesson when it was just too late. Maybe he just wasn't blessed or privileged enough to learn his lesson earlier. It's okay. It's life. I will honor him by being nothing like him. That's how I will honor his last name. And that's how I will keep this last name and pass it on to my children. That's how I choose to honor my father, because I owe it to him. He gave me life. I draw breath because of him. I am better because of him, because I see how I don't want to be, which is why I say you can learn from everyone. I learned so much from my father because I see exactly what to avoid and what not to do. So for anyone with daddy issues, honor your father. You owe it to your father. You have his last name. And the way you're going to do that is becoming 10 times better than him and behaving nothing like him. That's how you'll honor your last name. That's how you'll establish your legacy. That's how you'll pass on this last name to your children. That's how you'll do it. All young men want to do is just take care of their mothers. Every single young man on this earth wants to just retire their mom and buy their mom a house and make sure she lives the best life ever. Because it's the one woman that unconditionally loved us, that would die for us. The love from a mother is indescribable. The pain that a mother will go through just to see her son prevail is indescribable. It's magnificent. It's divine in every way, shape, and form. Use that to drive you. Use that desire to propel you. Think of that. Fight for something bigger than you. That's called fighting for someone bigger than you, your mother. Do it for her. Don't do it for you. Because if you fight for you, you will hit a wall. But if you fight for someone else, then you become a machine. You become a freaking animal. Next one. Do one thing for a very long time and you'll just get good at it. When I was young, I tried way too hard to do multiple things. I tried way too freaking hard to do a bunch of things. And I burnt myself out. And eventually, I became a jack of all trades, which was good, but I wasn't great at anything. I was good at a lot, great at none. When I tunneled in on the one thing I knew I was good at, which was speaking and sales, I saw a big difference. Tunnel in on one thing and do it for a long time. And you will become prolific and exceptional at it. When I was younger, I had a problem of always becoming a victim to my vices. I had a lot of vices. And so I became a victim. And the only thing that helped me was to stay busy. If you are busy, you won't have times to do the things that cause you to self-destruct, that destroy you, because you don't have time. Vices always happen because of this pattern. You have free time. Free time leads to boredom. Boredom leads to the desire to stimulate your mind. The desire to stimulate your mind causes you to want to do something that doesn't require a lot of energy because you're already lazy and you're already comfortable. And so you turn towards a thing that can stimulate your mind the most, which is drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be for you. From there, you indulge in your vice. And the root of it is free time. If you occupy your time, if you're always busy, if you're always on go, you cannot fall victim to your vices. You cannot fall victim to your self-destructive behavior because you're always on go. You don't have time to think about it. And you don't even have time to even do it. You have to focus. In moments like this, where you are willing to throw it all away, remind yourself that just try for one more day. I didn't expect that to rhyme. What do you know? Just try for one more day. That's all you got to do. Try for one more day. You owe it to yourself to become the best version of yourself for your future family's sake. If you're doing this for external validation, whatever. If it works for you, it works for you. If that's your propellant, then that's your propellant. I don't. I do this because I just want to look in the mirror and say, I'm worthy. I don't know why I was gifted with the opportunity to build a platform. Not a lot of people can. And I don't even know how I'm so blessed to have you guys tune in and listen to my unsolicited advice. I don't know how I'm able to inspire so many of you, but it's a gift and I want to cherish that. And I owe it not only to you, but I owe it to the future family that I will have one day. And I owe it to the future version of myself to become the best man that I can possibly become. The better I become, the better I can teach. The more I can teach, the better you'll become. The better you become, the more you can teach. And so it becomes this chain effect. I teach you, you teach others, and we just teach. And we pass it on to the next generation. And we pass it on to the next people coming up. And that's my goal. I want to pass this on to you to make it easier for you so that you don't have to feel what I feel, so that you don't have to go through what I went through. That's my goal. That's why I do this. That's why I do all this stuff. You owe it to yourself. And you become a machine if you can fight for someone bigger than yourself. But it starts with you first. It always has started with you, and it will end with you. But you have to make the decision that you cannot stay the same. Tony Robbins says, growth happens when the pain of staying the same significantly outweighs the pain of change. You have to feel this deep pain that you're the same person and that you keep living in this loop, and you have to get fed up and you have to be sick of it. And once you're fed up and once you're sick of it, you can make a decision to change your life. You can use fear as leverage. Act on fear. Put your back against the wall where you have no other choice. This is why some people that have kids and are married are some of the most dangerous people, because they can't fail, because they have to win. There's literally no choice. It's plan A, and they don't even have a plan B. Like, it's just, I got to make plan A work. They're the most competent. They're the most capable. I wish I knew all these things when I was 18, man. It would have helped me along my journey. Don't, next one is don't be a knucklehead. Learn about yourself. Think for yourself. This system, the school system, this systematic monopoly matrix that we live in, they teach us what to think, never how to think. And you will learn how to think when you can spend time alone. That's when you'll learn how to think. Your whole life you've been taught what to think from your family, from your inner circle, from your close friends, from your loved ones, from the school system, from your peers. You've never learned how to think. You learn how to think by taking in something that you've heard and saying, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Why do I like this? Why do I not like this? That's when you learn how to think. If I say I love the color black and you agree, you have to say, why do I enjoy the color black? Why do I not like the color black? Should I like the color black? And this is when you learn how to think for yourself. You need to learn how to think, not what to think. Once you learn how to think, you can decide what to think. But until you can decide what you want to think about, you first have to understand the inner workings of your mind. How am I going to think? What am I going to do? And it's a building process. For me, it was deep studies in the spirituality and the phenomenology of the self and psychology and human behaviors and how we function the way we function and energy, frequency, and vibration and one with the universe, whatever. And then I use that knowledge to just scale everything else. Sales, speaking, everything else. It doesn't have to be that way for you. Do what works for you. I'll only ever tell you what works for me. And so if nothing works for you, then maybe this will work a little bit better than what you're already doing. You have to be mean to yourself. There is no love when you're broke. There is no loving yourself when you're a pathetic person that is incapable of taking care of his own people or her own people. There is no love there. There is no passion there. You have to be mean to yourself and you have to say, I am not enough right now, but I will be enough in 4 years if I just make the call to take action right now, despite my conditions and circumstances. Don't wait around for perfect conditions to come. You cannot wait for that. You just have to go full force all the way in and go. You have to be a student. You have to be a student all the freaking way. Be a student. Always be a student. Learn. And not only learn, but act upon the information that you've garnered, that you've gained. You have to act upon that. And when you can do that, then you will freaking scale to the moon. And when you scale to the moon, you look back and you don't forget the people that's been by you, right by your side, that struggled with you, that died with you, that that bled with you, that was suffering, that just felt pain with you. You come back for them and you say, I got you. Come here with me. Let me pull you out. You need to surround yourself with 3 people. Someone better than you, that's more grown, that's been where you want to go, that has experienced what you want to experience. We call this a mentor. You need someone that's on the same playing field as you. This person is usually the same age. You guys are striving towards the same goals. You guys can compete with one another. You can bounce ideas off one another. You guys will help each other grow, push each other to grow. And then lastly, you need someone that you can teach, a mentee. Someone younger in your life that's going through what you have already been through, and you can guide them. This is how we create the chain effect. We learn from the mentor. We push people that are next to us, and we teach the next people coming up. That's how we build the chain effect, and that's how we can make it easier for the next generation. You owe it to yourself. If you're young, you have time. And you got to fight that desire to go and do all the stuff that young people want to do if you want to succeed. I'm all for having fun. I have no regrets. I had a lot of fun from 16 to 22. I have no regrets. And I've met people that have regrets. And they're millionaires, man. And they tell me, I just wish I had fun. And I would have a conversation with someone I knew. And I said, hey, would you trade everything you had? And this person's close to $1 million. I said, would you trade everything you have just to go back and create memories? He's like, yep. And so that tells you that, hey, maybe Life is about making memories, but you have to make sure they're not destructive to where they destroy you. You can make memories, but you have to make sure it's not destructive. Look at Floyd Mayweather. When he was fighting and training, he still partied. He still hung with the ladies. There is no right way to do anything. You just have to find the strength inside of you to create a little bit of balance. But you have to be uncomfortable with unbalanced. Life is unbalanced. It's hectic and chaotic. But in the midst of this chaos, you have to weave your way in and say, okay, well, if I just draw a line here, I can take this and enjoy this without letting it destroy me and push me here. I don't go out because I'm tunneled in, but if I do go out, I'll have fun. And I'll wake up the next day and I'll just brute force my way through the next day. And that was the consequence of me going out, but I made the memory. And so that means the next day I have to suffer with feeling a little bit less productive. I have no rules. You'll notice I have no rules. I'm very just go. I'm very much just, hey, if it works, it works. And you don't need to cut anything out and you don't need to do only this. You just have to do what suits you, what works best for you. And in doing so, you'll be able to just power your way through everything and still make memories to where you grow up and you don't regret it. Live a life. Have a story to tell. Do crazy, exceptional stuff and have your fun. I tell my fun stories to my boy all the time, and he's like, dude, that sounds crazy. He'll be like, dude, that's awesome. And he'll be like, I wish I had that. And I'll be like, yeah, it was fun. Am I successful now? Not yet. Is it because of that? Who knows? But I will be. But at least now I get to say I had fun. Now I get to tunnel in. Plus I'm still young, still 24. Got a long ways to go. I got time. And if I don't have time, then that means none of it was worth it anyways. It didn't matter anyways. I'm dead. Keep fighting. And you have to call yourself out on the BS. And when you can do so, I promise you'll scale. Be a student. Learn. Remember that you are what you think, your intellect, you are what you do, your warrior, and you are what you feel, your emotion. And that creates the totality of your being. All my young men, please read this book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Robert Moore. Read that book. It will change your life. It changed mine. Read books that stood the test of time. I've always read books that it didn't serve me. Like Declutter Your Mind, or How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk, or whatever the heck other books here that just didn't serve me because it was just, they didn't stand the test of time. So read books that stand the test of time, that are still talked about to this day. That's how you learn. Your warrior will be your brute force, your courage, your bravery, your strength, your just natural aggression. And then you get to tame that animal by being emotionally understanding. Don't be afraid to feel, young men. Don't listen to all these alpha gurus tell you that you gotta have a pumped out Lamborghini and this and this. Yeah, that's one facet of a man. Not the Lamborghini, but that's the warrior aspect, but they're underdeveloped in the other aspects. They're too warrior. They're too masculine. They become this primal caveman with no brain. You have to weave your intellect with your warrior and your emotions and your deep understanding and connectiveness with things. And you'll create this coherent individual that will conquer. I promise. That's a guarantee. Without a doubt. And I'm willing to bet everything I have that if you can work on those three areas, you will create a coherent totality of a man that will conquer and reign over everything. You're naturally dominant in one already. When I was younger, I was naturally dominant in my emotions because I was highly emotional because I was raised by a single mother. So I just had a lot of that attach itself to me. As I got older, in my 18 to 21 year range, I got hyper aggressive. I became this angry, aggressive warrior. I was just way too prideful, way too dominant, way too angry. And then from 21 to 24, I mastered my intellect and I tunneled in on my intellect. And so I had to work on these stages throughout my years. But it started with I was way too emotional. Then I had to tame that emotional by adding a little bit of warrior, a little bit of aggression, a little bit of that soldier, that brute force. And then lastly, I had to increase my intellect so I wasn't this mindless, robotic caveman that just acts impulsively and thinks he's so alpha. Right? You got it. Whatever you're going through, keep at it. Meet me at the top. I'll see you there. Don't stop now. Meet me up there. Go. And for the love of God, don't stop. Not yet. You are guaranteed to win if you just don't quit. That's all I got, man.